Anna had always loved her new apartment, a cozy one-bedroom with vintage charm and a massive antique mirror hanging in the hallway. The landlord had warned her not to remove it, claiming it was part of the building's history. She didn't mind, it gave the place character. The first night, she noticed something odd. As she passed by the mirror on her way to bed, her reflection lingered a second too long. Just a fraction of a second, enough to make her heart stutter. She laughed it off, blaming her exhaustion. But then it happened again. And again. Each night, her reflection seemed slower, its movements just slightly out of sync. One evening, she stopped in front of it, raising her hand experimentally. Her reflection mimicked her perfectly, except for one chilling detail: it smiled, and she hadn't. Anna's breath hitched. She stumbled back, eyes wide. When she looked again, the reflection was normal. "I'm just tired," she muttered, shaking her head. Over the next few days, she tried to ignore the growing sense of unease. But the mirror refused to be ignored. The reflection's smile appeared more often. Sometimes, it tilted its head at an unnatural angle, watching her as she passed. Then, one night, she woke to a soft tapping. She sat up in bed, her pulse hammering. The sound was faint but rhythmic. Tap, tap, tap. It was coming from the hallway. Summoning every ounce of courage, she crept toward the mirror. The tapping stopped as she approached. Holding her breath, she peered into the glass. Her reflection stood there, staring back. And then it moved on its own. Anna's real body was frozen in terror, but her reflection lifted a hand, pressing its palm to the inside of the glass. Its grin stretched wider than any human mouth should. "Let me out," it whispered. A strangled scream caught in Anna's throat. She stumbled backward, grabbing her phone. Her fingers fumbled as she turned on the flashlight. When she shone it at the mirror, the reflection was normal again, her own face, wide-eyed and terrified. Shaking, she threw a sheet over the mirror. That night, she barely slept. The next morning, she called the landlord. "That mirror, what's wrong with it?" There was a long silence before the old man spoke. "You saw him, didn't you?" Anna's skin went cold. "Who?" "The man in the mirror," he sighed. "You should leave, miss. Some things don't like being trapped." Heart pounding, Anna grabbed her things. As she turned for the door, she hesitated, one last look at the covered mirror. The sheet had slipped slightly, revealing just a sliver of glass. And from behind it, something watched her leave.